Obviously, shoot, that was, feel like a long time ago, heading into the bye week. Obviously had a chance to watch it, extremely disappointed in the way we executed, on all fronts. We need to be better. But it was a good film to watch and learn and digest. And this thing about the MAC and MACtion is you don't get a full bye week, you get a half a bye week. So you have a choice as a coach whether you try to get rest for their bodies or whether you try to get extra practices. Because normally in a full week bye week, you get both. A couple extra practices and some rest. So we leaned towards the rest, try to get their bodies back. We did have one extra practice, but and they've been really good. Obviously, we're playing Central, and so it's a big game for everybody and big game for the alumni, and they're playing well right now. A lot of close games, hard-fought games, and so it's been fun to have extra time to evaluate them and us at the same time and figure out what we need to do to put ourselves in the best position to beat a really good football team. So.
Coach, you obviously know this rivalry very well from playing here. All of your games were on Saturdays. What do you think of playing a midweek MACtion game against your rival?
Yeah, it's different, right? I mean, it's when I got here, I think I was here, and Hookster would probably know better than me. It was a couple years after there was like riots and stuff where it was really crazy, probably in the early '90s before I got here, and every atmosphere was electric, So the game never loses its intensity, no matter when you play it. You play it on a Monday night or Monday afternoon in a parking lot, and it would matter to a lot of people. So, I know that a lot of the alumni, because it's on a midweek, are going to be able to turn it on television, and so I'm sure the ratings will be good, and hopefully I think the weather's going to be pretty good for a MACtion game, and hopefully we get a good chance to get a crowd out there, which is important, obviously for our guys. It helps, but it definitely it's a little different, just because when I played, I remember those game days. They were different, in a good way, and so hopefully even for a MACtion this will be a little bit different even for a MACtion game, because I think we'll get a better crowd than a lot of people get normally for MACtion games.
Yeah, and you touched on the reason why the MAC does this, to kind of get that increased TV exposure.
Oh, yeah.
Have you guys talked about that? How are your players feeling, knowing that, there's not too many games being played on that Wednesday?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about that back in August as we kind of go through the schedule. We get to this part of the schedule, and you get to be seen by a lot of people. Our players' goals, are to be seen and be recognized by hopefully NFL teams, and MACtion has helped our conference increase the amount of people that get chances, at the next level. So it is definitely switches our schedule up, like today, today was a Thursday to me, and so there are some things that we do have to do a little bit differently and kind of get used to what day of the week it is. But the opportunity for our players and our team is huge.
And then last week, or 2 weeks ago, whatever.
Week and a half technically.
Against Toledo, team didn't really seem to run the ball as well as it has this year. And Caleb also, maybe wasn't as comfortable in the pocket as he has been. What are your thoughts on the offensive line and kind of where they're at, heading into the latter part of the season? Yeah,
they're healthy and feeling good right now. I mean, the break definitely helped us out. I didn't think we ran the ball as efficiently as we wanted to going into the game. I don't think I called as good of a game as I could have called. We didn't execute at the quarterback position well enough, and you add all those things together at the same time, it's tough to beat a good team at their place, and so we've talked about that. We focused on it. We're very honest. We always talk about watching the film with honest eyes after a game, and the guys, and then we gave them a couple days off just to get their bodies feeling, because it's going to be a physical game at Central, and as you get into MACtion, there's a higher percentage chance, you're going to get some Midwest weather in November. We're going to have to be able to run the ball, and it's something we've done really well, and we need to do a better job of doing it moving forward.
Last year, your defense was rolling, and then Central Michigan kind of threw a wrinkle in there with Khalil Pimpleton and the Wildcat. How do you kind of prepare for, maybe some wrinkles that they've saved up for a big game like this?
Yeah, they've used a lot. I mean, last week or week and a half ago when they played, I want to say when we went out for warm-ups at Toledo, I think Pimpleton had already thrown a pass, and I think their running back had thrown 2 passes by that time. So, they'll do anything on offense. They do a lot of different things, and we have to be prepared and be disciplined. And the Wildcat stuff, which they used heavily on us last year, they still got it. They've run it a lot more here since then, I believe. So we've seen it a lot more, and I think we got a good plan. I think the guys are comfortable with it, but they'll put multiple different Wildcat guys back there. Just doing anything they can to try to create an advantage. And I don't, like I said, we didn't do a great job stopping it last year, and it's something we worked on in the summertime and in the off season. Because I think, other than that, we played fairly well. That set gave us troubles, and it was a shootout because of it up there last year. So I know our defense is focused on it, and I'm sure we're going to see it. Plus some things we haven't seen yet. So we just got to be disciplined, have good eye discipline, and play with detail, and we'll put ourselves in a great game, I think.
Can you give us an update on Bryson Gardner's injury status?
Man, yeah, same. We did one other extra test on him just to make sure that everything was good with the muscle in the shoulder and make sure it's firing. It is, so he's good. It's just a nerve, and when it was good for him. He got to go to I wish I knew the name of it, the technical name of what we did, just to double check everything. And she gave him some really good advice just in his head that the nerves, it's going to come back, and it's just a matter of time, but you really don't know how long. And so he's out there running around. He's the most in shape person we have on our team, running around, knows what he's doing, and we're really hoping that here soon, you guys probably seen him warm up at every game and stand on the sideline of every game, and there's no trickeration to that or anything. He wants to play, and we want him to play. And as soon as, but if it's not healthy for him to play, we're not going to play him. So, and Myrtle's doing a good job too, So we're lucky to have some depth. But I know we're trying to do everything we can to get that shoulder to be as strong as it needs to be. The movement's great. We just got to get the strength where it needs to be so we can play again.
There against Toledo, your team went 0 for 3 on 4th downs. Talk about the thoughts on those drives, the decisions to go for it on 4th downs, and what you thought sort of caused those to not work.
Yeah, there's really one that I remember, to be honest with you, that sticks out. Let's put it that way. It was a 4th and 1. We go off the book. The one thing you learn about the book is when you believe in analytics, you want to win games. It's not about having a respectable score. It's about trying to find a way to get back and win games. We've won some games because we've been aggressive. So once we got down late in the 3rd and 4th quarter, we were going. There was a couple of times we might have 3rd and 10 from our own 10, and the book says go. So you're going. So those are some tough calls. But there's the one inside zone call that the spot was close. I think we could have done a better job blocking it. And Caleb had one shot to maybe throw the ball. I was hoping he would, and that was the main one that we had a legit shot at, But when it comes to those decisions, most of them are already made heading into it, And it is always tough when we get into the pure passing situations. When a defense like that, and they were a good defense, and we knew that going in. They were number 1 defense in our league scoring-wise, 18 points a game or whatever it was. When they know you're passing and you have to pass, it makes it difficult, And they got Caleb a couple times, and therefore we put our defense in some tough situations. But we're always going to be swinging, We're always going to try to come back. We've come back from against them down 10 with 50 seconds left. So sometimes you will when you look at the stats at the end of the game, a lot of it is dictated on the situation we were in late in the 3rd and in the 4th where you're down and in some tough 4th downs that aren't normal 4th and 1s. I think about the 1 4th and 1 that we should have gotten, and we had one lineman kind of get driven back that I don't think should have, and I still thought we had. It was close, but there was no angle for them to review it, and it was tough. It was a tough one.
For the 2nd game in a row, you're going against the team that sort of figured out its quarterback situation mid-season, with CMU using both Jacob Sermon and Daniel Richardson this year. How does that affect how you watch film of their offense, knowing that that they've used multiple quarterbacks this year?
Yeah, you just want to be prepared for both. You really want to know what in the DNA of a quarterback, what they like to do. Every quarterback has the throws they like, and there's some amazing, use PFF, Pro Football Focus, and it can give you some amazing information on their completion percentage on the right, left, middle, deep, short. Like you kind of get to know where a quarterback likes to go with the ball, and so you got to have two plans because no two quarterbacks are identical. So. We do it on our own quarterbacks to figure out where they're most comfortable. They might not think they are until you show them the stats of you're 8 of 8 when you make this throw in games, and so that's I think the biggest key. And they're playing at a high level. I think Richardson. I mean, just making reads, comfortable in the offense. He's been there a couple years now, and then you add the run game to that, and I think they're pretty dynamic. I mean, the game they had against Northern was shootout-ish. They were really, both teams were moving up and down the field, and it was obviously went down to the wire.
You mentioned that run game. Lou Nichols already nearly to 1,000 yards for him, just 8 games into the year.
Yeah.
How do you go about slowing down a runner as good as him?
Whew, you got to gang tackle, right? I mean, he's the one thing I like about their running back that I'm impressed with is just how physical he is. Square you up. He's not going to try. I mean, he has some moves, but he's gonna be a physical player and keeps his hips behind his shoulder pads, so it's hard to wrap him up. And it's just so important that we do a good job up front. Their O-line's huge. We got to get people to the ball, and so that's when you're playing a physical team like that. I mean, the key is getting multiple people to the ball because the first person might get hit, squared up and not be able to wrap them up, but it'll stay in front of them, and the second and third guy in can stop them. So it'll be a big challenge for our defense, and I'm excited. They've had a really good week of practice, and I think they're, hopefully they're kind of coming into their own, getting comfortable with what we're doing, and this is definitely a team that's going to be physical with us, and that's a game that we've been successful in many times. So it's going to be just like all the other Central Western games are won at the line of scrimmage, and so we're going to have to do the same.
Coach, one state rivalry was settled on Saturday, and another state rivalry will be decided on Wednesday, and the focus turns to this rivalry in the state of Michigan, and you've had the upper hand. Western Michigan has had the upper hand, winning 8 out of the last 10 and 3 in a row, but history really doesn't matter when you go into these things. So what kind of game do you look for on Wednesday night? And also address the special impact that this rivalry has in the state.
Yeah, I think the thing that's so unique about the rivalry is that it infiltrates houses. That's what I always say. Everyone I meet that's a Bronco, if they are married to a Chippewa, they normally tell me right away. They're like, well, my wife's a Chippewa. I just want to let you know right off the bat. And I was like, you didn't have to tell me that. But they feel like they need to for some reason. And then there's arguments over, like which flag gets to be flown in neighborhoods for the year. I mean, it's so much more than a game with this rivalry. So. And it's been that way since I played. You could ask any alum what their record is against Central, and they could tell you like this. If you ask them to accumulate their 4-year record as a player, they probably couldn't do it. But if you ask them what's your Central record, boom, could tell you right now. I could tell you mine right now. And so it matters. And I know a lot of side wagers will be determined, by what happens on Saturday, and a lot of bragging rights. And, it's just two programs that have been doing this for a long time, and that respect each other, and it's physical, and obviously there's a trophy involved, and, it's the one game you always remember. And I think that's what makes sports special, from the high school rivalries to the college rivalries and on to the, professional sports. So it's another exciting game, and but you can throw the records out the window. That means nothing. There have been stretches here and there that I've been a part of the different stretches of where one team won this way or one team. When I played, it was the home team that won. Home team always won. It seemed like for 10 straight years from the early 90s and probably late 80s, And then obviously it swung over to their way, and then it swung ours. So it has really done. It's done everything in its time. So our job is to focus and show up and play 60 minutes of football and play a physical brand of football, which we know that they play, and we have to play the same kind.
Coach, the West Division in the MAC is still, I think, up for grabs, although one team has a clear path to winning it all at 4-0, but the rest of the league is all tied at 2-2 with 4 games to play.
Yep.
I still think anybody really has a shot here.
It is. Obviously, the opportunity to still play Northern, who's done an unbelievable job. They've won a lot of games in the last minute, but they found ways to win games, and so having a chance to still play that team is an advantage to us, and it's an advantage to Ball State too. The teams that have already, lost the game to them are a little bit, but it's the MAC West, man. Anything goes. I mean, every single year you get down to the last 2 weeks, and the picture is totally different than it was a month out. So still playing for a ton of things. Obviously playing our rival, which is probably the biggest thing. But it's exciting that we still have a chance to play Northern in about a month, and but we gotta focus at the game at hand, and we'll hopefully put ourselves in a position to have those games matter.